XRP targeting $117 a coin. Is that outrageous, or is there a possibility? And if so, why? Let's take a look. Now, many of you already know that my conservative estimates of what may happen in this bull run was anywhere from $27 to $33. I'm still holding to that. But things change and outside forces affect market behavior. Take 2020. We all know what happened back then. The market just completely tanked, and that was not normal because an external force influenced the market. You can go further back to 2008, 2009 and the housing mess. Those external forces impacted the entire market. 9/11 did the same thing. The dot-com burst did the same thing. But similar to those, things can occur to give an economic boom, to give it an economy thrust, and markets a thrust. That can happen too. And right now, what are we seeing? We're not just seeing money change with blockchain. We're seeing the entire financial system, the whole apparatus change with all these trade deals that are going on and the way Trump is resetting the entire table. It's not just money. He's also resetting the board. And he's positioning the United States in the most powerful position I think it will have ever been in its own history. And I think we can all see that. It's pretty clear. He's taking advantage of exactly what we are. The United States is still the financial epicenter of the globe, and he's taking full advantage of that to make sure to secure a better outcome for everybody. So I like it because typically, most people don't realize it, but in the United States, it's gotten really tough. It's a whole different and much worse reality than when I was a kid in the 80s. And most of the world doesn't quite recognize that, but I do. I have a long memory, and so do many of the people I grew up with. So when we see something like this, it doesn't seem so outlandish because we've seen some things like this. We've seen the dot-com craze. That went crazy. We saw computers come into the market, and that created a big boost. Interconnectivity, the internet created a lot of boost. Smartphones created a lot of boost. And now we're looking at AI, blockchain, new legislation, the money's changing, new trade deals all the way around the world. We're going to have access to markets we never had before. So why wouldn't that create more jet fuel for the markets? So let's take a look at what Dark Defender has. Now, he's a chart analyst, and he's saying that the cooling period is about to come to an end. XRP is targeting $117 by surpassing Wave 3 targets of 1313, 1622, and 3676. I'm sorry, 1822 and 3676. Not financial advice. It never is. This is just what he's looking at in the charts. He says, considering the historical pattern and wave structure, XRP is about to turn all haters into lovers. June and July were hot. In other words, we got a little bit of a boost. He says that August is going to be much, much harder. And if you look at his chart over here, let's just zoom into what matters. See here, I think we're somewhere around here. See here. So yeah. So he says we could possibly land somewhere right around there. And if you can take a look at that, you just zoom in on that and just take a minute to see where he thinks we're going to head and why. So, some people might be thinking, well, it's just a chart. It's another analyst. It's just his opinion. And you're right. If you look at Blockchain Backer, he's thinking we're on the last leg, but I've said it before. I know it's not the popular opinion, but I think we've got 3 legs on this thing and we're barely hitting the second one. When that third leg comes in, and I think it's going to take us all the way through 26, maybe 27. We've got a real shot at hitting some amazing numbers. Now, here's somebody else who sees it the way I do, and what he says means something because he's one of the leaders in the blockchain. Now, above is an interview that Charles Hoskinson, he's a founder of Cardano and a co-founder of Ethereum as well. He gave an interview over to Blockworks. And in that, he states pretty much what is very clearly on my mind because I can see it. I can see the legislation. I can see the table being set. And I can see a craze. I mean, people, I just had an 89-year-old friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, ask me about blockchain and if I thought it was something he should throw a little bit of money at. Now, he's got a sizable portfolio. And so he was curious. And he was also asking if it would be a good idea to point his grandson in this direction. Well, you know my answer. And so when you look at what's going on, and he asked me that, because he's watching on the news that they're putting legislation together for all this stuff, and he used to think Bitcoin was BS. I still think that. I know it's blockchain. I know it's these ISO 20022 compatible coins. I know that's going to be the backbone. So he's looking at all of this and he's asking me, Mike, this came up a little while back, and we talked about it one time before, and he just completely laughed it off, and I'm not one to bring it up. So he brought it up again after, I think it's been 5 years since the last time we had that conversation, and now he wants in. He can see it now. And so, in my opinion, the sooner you see it, the better off your portfolio is going to look, because it ain't going backwards. And President Trump does what he says what he means, and it happens. He says we're going to be the cryptocurrency capital of the world, and that is exactly what's going to occur, period. And so if you don't prepare yourself and get your seat at the table, get ready to go, back up your dump truck and receive all that value, you're not going to get your dump truck filled, man. You're not going to get your account filled. It's almost sort of like you go trick-or-treating, right? But if you don't have a little bag, you're not going to get any candy. And so if you want your candy, get a bag. So anyhow, let's take a look at what Charles Hoskinson has to say, because I think very similarly to what he describes here, that's exactly what the landscape looks like. And I think it's going to be very close to the reality. And in my opinion, it might actually be quite a bit better than what he mentions, because there's just so much positive development, adoption, and integration that's going on with just XRP. Never mind, it's not the only one. There's others like Cardano, like XLM, like Algorand, like HBAR, QNT. There's a bunch of these that are just in the, they're doing their thing right now. You're just not hearing about it. XDC is doing the same thing. XYO, that's one of my what would you call it? Surprise favorites, I guess. I think that one's just going to come out of nowhere. It's still a penny, I think, maybe two, somewhere around there. But some of these blockchains are going to make some real noise, and I think when most people see it happen, like right now we're at we're about $3 and some odd cents for XRP. We're going to shoot up to that 117, maybe to $30. It's going to give you whiplash. I mean, I keep saying that. It's going to be $3 and some odd cents, and the next day it's going to be $6 to $7, maybe by the end of a week, let's say. And then you wait another week or two, and then it goes back down to 5, and people they're going to start saying things like, it's crashing. And then next thing you know, you're up to $9 or $10, and it's just going to start getting out of reach. And then there's going to be this one moment, like a lot of markets tend to have that blow off the top, and it's just going to go, it could go anywhere from $36 to $100 or so. I have seen that happen many times in this space. And I mean, we just saw it with Circle in the traditional market. Circle opened at 36 and it landed somewhere well over $200. And that's the traditional market. This market has a lot more potential for those kinds of rises. And so from my point of view, what he's about to say is exactly how I see things developing. So check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and bookmark, and we will see you guys on the next one. Till next time, adios, amigos.
Here's if you think the 4-year cycle is still intact.
No, it's a different cycle. It's something different going on, and I don't even think we're close to the peak of the bull market. People have gotten so pessimistic and cynical that they're like, "Oh, the market's dead, and we've ballooned." It's like, dude, clarity's not even passed yet. When clarity gets passed, the back 7 are going to enter the cryptocurrency space. You're going to have stable coins go above 1 to 2 trillion in issuance. You're going to have real world assets come in. The total market cap aggregate is going to be over 10 trillion. And so I call this the Giga Chad bull run. It's like the biggest bull run we've ever had. And when Bitcoin starts stalling, then the alts will pop. And so you're going to see great ratios that come from this whole thing. And it'll die off a little bit, but it's like every time you have these windows, you go to new all-time highs, and then you stay at new all-time lows. And so it's no longer a 4-year cycle because it's not retail-led anymore. It's more led by institutions, and it's more led by massive investors. But simply put, there's just too much going on. The inventories on Bitcoin are too low. You got these DATs injecting gargantuan amounts of money into the market, and there's no way not to see a bull run, from all.
When do you think we hit? Wait, so what do we have today? 4 trillion, I think.
Yeah.
We're at 4 trillion. When do you think we hit 10 trillion?
Before the end of the cycle, and I think the cycle will last throughout 2026 because clarity is going to be the catalyst. I think that really bootstraps it up. And the only reason why we haven't super taken off was that there was an irrational exuberance when Trump got elected, and then it didn't immediately pay off, and so people got a little crazy about it. And then